This isn't about Vegas, but fine. So I am part of a group of lady friends. And as a group of lady friends does, when they get close in their 20s and they move along in life, they tend to get engaged and get married and have children around the same time. And I was the first to have a baby. And when you're the first of your friends to have a baby, that baby becomes the benchmark baby. That baby is the example, it's the questions, it's the first, it's everything to all of your friends, and you get asked questions constantly. And what I begin to find as my other friends followed along and had babies is that mine was the best one. She's amazing. I hypnobirthed, so no big deal. I also, my baby was very calm. She ate well. She slept through the night quickly. She never got sick. She was a perfect baby. And I eventually began to think, oh fuck, she's a superhero. She's perfect. She's amazing. This could be possible. She could be a superhero. The X-Men didn't always exist. This could be a thing. She never, ever got sick. And then one day, when she was 16 months old, I was home alone, and my husband was working, and I was taking care of my best friend's not perfect baby. And I was also 7.5 months pregnant with a superhero sidekick. So I'm at home alone, and Lily seemed, that's my daughter, seemed a little off her game that day. She was a little tired, she was kind of worn out, and I noticed that she felt kind of warm. Now, I had never experienced her being sick, so I didn't know what that would look like, and I felt her, and I was like, that might be a fever. I don't know, I'm gonna check. And I took her temperature, and she did in fact have a fever that was nearing 101, and I thought, well, you know, for a baby, that's not that hot. So I gave her some Tylenol. Now, this is a super rookie mistake to you moms in the room. I gave a 16-month-old Tylenol dosage for a 6-month-old. So stupid. Didn't do a thing. She eventually laid down on the floor to fall asleep. She was dictating her own naps at the time, and I was fine with that. And I was playing with my friend's dumb baby, and I noticed he was drooling all over me. It was stupid. And I noticed out of the corner of my eye, like a twitching. And I looked, I hear some moms. I looked over to where Lily was sleeping on the floor, and she was shaking. And I put down dumb baby, and I ran to her, and I picked her up, and I turned her over, and she was having a seizure. She had her fists closed, and she had her arms shaking against her, and her eyes were rolled up. And in the worst timing ever, I had fed her avocados for lunch, so she was drooling green. And I must have screamed pretty loudly, like, Lily, no, 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 what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? And I knew in the back of my very panicked, very fuzzy head what was happening. Because my mother told me that when I was 3 years old, I had a febrile seizure, which is something you get with fevers. It's not uncommon. And I had one. I very vaguely remember waking up to a very bright hospital room when I was 3. It's one of my first memories. My mother had had one in 1950, and my grandfather left her for dead because they look that bad. My grandfather had had one in the 1920s, and being the youngest of 15 children on a farm was barely noticed. So I knew they ran in the family. And I knew what was happening. I knew enough to hold her to her side so that she wouldn't choke. And I fumbled with my phone, and I called 911, and I told them what was happening, and they told me, you know, hold her to her side, don't let her choke. Duh. And they told me an ambulance was coming. Now, I knew I screamed loudly because my neighbor upstairs, also pregnant, opened my unlocked door and said, "Natalie, are you okay? Is everything okay?" And I said, "No, my daughter's having a seizure, and I just called an ambulance." And she said, "Can I help?" And I was like, "In fact, you can. There's a dumb baby down here. And I need to get his parents to pick him up, so if you could watch him while I go in this ambulance for the first time in my life, that would be great." So she came down to watch him, and I knew in that moment, oh my God, it takes a village, or a 3-flat. It takes one of those things. So she came down and stayed with the boy while I took my daughter into an ambulance. Now I have an unplanned epilogue to this story. She's had 3 seizures since then, and now we're very aware of them. We're kind of tired of them, to be honest. I count the days till she turns 5, and they're supposed to stop. But I count those days. But I put on Facebook yesterday that I stayed home sick from work, and my mother has texted me like 3 times. "Are you sick? Are you okay? What's wrong? What's going on?" And I realize it doesn't end when I'm 5. Thank you.